I kindly request each one of you to concentrate to the inner light, divine presence. Prayers and Meditation, February 5th, 1914. What could be said that is not always the very same aspiration, the law of divine love, the purest expression of what we can conceive of Thee, must be realized more and more upon earth and triumph over all ignorant egoism. We must become more and more perfectly the faithful servitors of that power of love and light. We must live in it, by it, that alone must live and act in us. O Lord, become the sovereign master of our lives and dispel all the obscurities which can still prevent us from seeing Thee and constantly communing with Thee. Liberate us from all ignorance. Liberate us from ourselves, that we may open wide the doors of Thy glorious manifestation. This week, epigrams from Savitri. A timeless mystery works out in time. Replies to questions on the bird of fire, Sri Aurobindo. Does the line, late and slow you have come from the timeless angel, mean that the sadhaka struggled long before the attainment? Does the timeless angel mean the transcendent? There must be a mistake in the copy. There is a full stop at timeless. Angel begins a new sentence and is addressed to the bird. It is the bird who went out to reach the timeless divine and comes late while Sadhak and the world have been long struggling and waiting in vain with the gift. Purani thinks that bird of fire represents aspiration. Is this true? No. The bird is not merely aspiration. Is the dancer in time Nadaraja? Yes. The flame petaled love you mention in one of the lines is, I think, possibly only at some level near the supermind. It is possible in the psychic also. The phrase arrives at its luminous term, thy flight, means, I suppose, the complete descent into the material consciousness after breaking the barriers of mind and life. No, it reaches the eternal and brings back to the material world that which is beyond mind and life. 25th October 1933. The dancer is not the time spirit, but the divine in time. The flame means bird of flame, and the bird is the symbol of an inner power that rises from the sacrifice, that is the yoga. The last lines mean that it has the power of going beyond mind and life to that which is beyond mind and life. 2nd December 1933. Prayer. Glory to sadhana. That alone is all this that is commenced, visible and invisible, mobile and immobile, say the seers of the scriptures. Of this world, when was the beginning? Where the end is? Whence and wherein has it thus come to light? Who knows that is born of man? The agent of the world's rise and fall and stay is Shiva with the Mother Shakti, Hari with the Shri, his consort, the Supreme Brahman with Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. For body, thus they say variously. Let that Lord, the Supreme Self, be with Maya or with no Maya. But how does he started this world void of meaning, futile, again and again. If neither in play nor not in play, with the world's birth, duration, and death, the Atman, the Self, stays aloof. Is there then no difference between insentient and sentient? If finding joy in the world play, he releases, creates, even as he breaks, does the Lord come down like a child for an act? This is vain. If he is the one and full, and there is nothing else, how then does the many confront us all around? If his knowledge is indivisible, infinite, and nothing from him comes to be that is unaware, how are we to speak of this world that is matter in motion, highly blind? If the sole Lord of the beings, the author of the world's birth, as himself, with his boundless knowledge and joy, become the all, how then does delusion, how does grief get space in the mighty Lord's being that is formless, indivisible, impenetrable? Let him sport who is clever in reasoning in the plentiful arena of the mind's domain. Let him who is skilled in bearing the load of the mind carry the baseless burden. Let the bee search for, to enjoy, the lotus in the sky without direction or hope. On our part, let us, with firm steps in the gate, settle in the quietude. Agni Kastava. The Mother Question and Answers, 1956. Why is it that all the timeless presses towards the play in time? All in time turns upon and around the timeless spirit. Mother. Because it is like that, my child. All that is unmanifested wants to manifest, and all that is manifested tries to return to its origin. It is as if you asked me, why is the earth round and why are the sun and planets there? It is like that. The law of the universe is like that. Most of these things are simply statements of fact. But there are no explanations, for one can't give mental explanations. One can give some, but each thing one wants to explain is explained by another, which has to be explained by another, which has to be explained by another, indefinitely. And you can go right round the universe and with one thing explaining another. It explains nothing at all. The only thing one can do is to say, it is like that. That is why it is said that the mind can know nothing. It can know nothing because it needs explanations. An explanation is valuable only to the extent it gives you a power to act on the thing explained. Otherwise, what is the good of it? If explaining something does not give you the power to change it, it is absolutely useless because, as I said, the explanation you give entails another explanation and so on. But if through an explanation you obtain some power over a thing to make it different from what it is, then it's worth the trouble. But this is not the case. So you go on turning round and round in this way. On the surface, instead of springing up into the air towards a new height. Sri Aurobindo's Life Divine, the infinite consciousness and the ignorance. If there is an eternal existence which is a conscious being, it must be beyond time which it contains. Timeless, as we say, it must be the eternal of the Vedanta, who we may then conjecture uses time only as a conceptual perspective for his view of his self-manifestation. But the timeless self-knowledge of this eternal is beyond mind. It is a supramental knowledge, superconscient to us, and only to be acquired by stilling. Or transcending of the temporal activity of our conscious mind. By an entry into silence or a passage through silence into the consciousness of eternity. If then mind is all, or if the apparent mind in us is the index of the nature of our being, we can never be anything more than an ignorance fleeting through time and catching at knowledge in a most scanty and fragmentary fashion. But if there is a power of self-knowledge beyond mind, which is timeless in essence, and can look on time, perhaps, with a simultaneous all-relating view of past, present, and future, but in any case, as a circumstance of its own timeless being, then we have two powers of consciousness, knowledge and ignorance. Then we have two powers of consciousness, knowledge and ignorance, the Vedantic Vidya and Avidya. Prayer. Concentrate to the Divine Presence. Let us join together as a single whole body of receiving the Divine Mother's love. Dear Mother, Lord of the universe, we have adored Thee, unaware of Thy inseparable love, the Mother of the universe, Thy life beloved. Still Thou talkest not amiss this my lapse. O glory of Your companionship of mutual celebration, Lord auspicious, reign supreme, linking this one surrendered at Thy feet, whose life depends solely upon Thy glance and grace, with happy beneficence. May Thy glance, world-conquering, Spirit sovereign, engaged in the self of Thine, carrying the burden of action, be victorious. From Glory of Glories. Hymns of Sri Kapali Shastriyar. Savitri, Book 2, Book of the Traveller of the Worlds. Canto 11, Kingdoms and Godheads of the Greater Mind. A memory steals in from lost heavens of truth. A wide release comes near, a glory calls. A might looks out, an estranged felicity. In glamorous passages of half-veiled light, wandering a brilliant shadow of itself, this quick, uncertain leader of blind gods, this tender of small lamps, this minister serf, hired by a mind and body for earth use, forgets its work mid crude realities. It recovers its renounced imperial right. It wears once more a purple robe of thought, and known itself the ideal's seer and king. Communicant and prophet of the unknown, heir to delight and immortality. All things are real that here are only dreams. In our unknown depths sleeps their reserve of truth. In our unreached heights they reign and come to us in thought and muse, trailing their robes of light. But our daft will and cold pragmatic sense admit not the celestial visitants, awaiting us on the ideal's peaks, or guarded in our secret self, unseen, yet flashed sometimes across the awakened soul. Hide from our lives their greatness, beauty, power. Our present feel sometimes their regal touch. Our future strives towards their luminous thrones. Out of spiritual secrecy they gaze. Immortal footfalls in mind's corridors sound. Our souls can climb into the shining place. The breaths from which they came can be our home. His privilege regained of shadowless sight, the thinker entered the immortal's air and drank again his pure and mighty source. Immutable in rhythmic calm and joy, he saw sovereignly, free in limitless light, the unfallen plains, the thought-created worlds, where knowledge is the leader of the act and matter is of thinking substance made. Feeling a heaven bird poised on dreaming wings, answer truth's call as to a parent's voice. From luminous leaps from the all-shaping beam, and will is a conscious chariot of the gods, and life a splendor stream of musing force carries the voice of mystic suns. A happiness it brings of whispered truth. There runs in its flow, honeying the bosom of space, a laughter from the immortal heart of bliss, and the unfathomed joy of timelessness. The sound of wisdom's murmur in the unknown, and the breath of an unseen infinity. In gleaming clarities of amethyst air, the chainless and omnipotent spirit of mind brooded on blue lotus of the ideas, a gold supernal sun of timeless truth, pour down the mystery of the eternal ray through a silence quivering with the world of light on an endless ocean of discovery. Far off he saw the joining hemispheres on meditation's mounting edge of trance. Great stairs of thought climbed up to unborn heights, where time's last ridges touch eternity's skies, and nature speaks to the spirit's absolute. We offer everything to the Divine Presence in us. With gratitude, we chant Om. Om. Thanks each one of you for your valuable participation, making this collective aspiration towards the universal harmony and well-being of our fellow humanity. Thank you. Greetings from Aurobindo.